It started on a cold February morning in 2004 in the small town of Cedar Falls, Iowa, the kind of town where everyone knew everyone and secrets never stayed buried for long. But Daniel Reeves had managed to keep his buried deeper than anyone could imagine. To the neighbors, he was the picture of perfection, a loving husband, a devoted father, and the successful owner of a local construction firm that had seemingly sprung out of nowhere and flourished within 5 years. He was charming. He remembered birthdays, showed up at local charity drives, and helped rebuild the church roof when a storm tore it apart. People admired him. Men wanted to be him. Women trusted him. And no one, not even his wife, Claire, suspected that Daniel Reeves was living a lie so enormous that even the FBI would spend years trying to untangle it. Claire met Daniel in 1998 at a hospital fundraiser. She was a nurse, quiet and kind, with a heart that saw the good in people. Daniel was there as a donor, freshly moved from Colorado after what he said was a messy business breakup. He told her he wanted to start over, build something honest with his own hands. He smiled when he said it, and Claire believed him. Within a year, they were married. For 5 years, everything was normal. 2 children, a nice house, family dinners, vacations to the lake. Daniel's company thrived, and Claire's life was stable. But it all began to change the night Daniel didn't come home. It was April 16, 2004. He'd said he was meeting a client in Des Moines. When midnight passed with no word, Claire called his cell. Straight to voicemail. At 2 a.m., panic set in. By morning, she called the police. The investigation started as a missing person case, but within a week, things took a strange turn. Daniel's truck was found abandoned near the Mississippi River, keys in the ignition, wallet on the seat, and traces of blood on the steering wheel. To everyone in town, it looked like a robbery gone wrong. But to the FBI, called in after a few irregular financial transactions surfaced, it looked like something else entirely. Bank records showed that 2 days before his disappearance, Daniel had transferred $480,000 from his business account to an offshore account in the Cayman Islands. The money trail didn't end there. A week earlier, a different name, David Reeves, had appeared on several wire transfers linked to him. When the FBI visited Claire, she sat pale and trembling at the kitchen table. "There must be a mistake," she said. "Daniel would never do that." But Daniel wasn't Daniel Reeves. His fingerprints, taken from a coffee mug in his office, matched those of a man named Mark Reynolds, wanted in 3 states for corporate fraud, identity theft, and insurance scams dating back to the early 1990s. The husband who had built a perfect life was a ghost. Claire's world collapsed overnight. Reporters flooded her lawn, neighbors whispered, and friends avoided her in grocery aisles. She must have known, they said. But she hadn't. The FBI interrogated her for hours, convinced she was hiding him. They searched the house, the office, his car, even the children's toys, but there was no trace of Daniel, or Mark, whichever name he truly owned. Weeks turned into months. A body was never found. The blood in the truck turned out to be his own, but the amount wasn't enough to indicate death. The FBI closed the case as a presumed death by suicide, but the lead agent, Special Agent Harper, wasn't satisfied. "Men like him," she said, "they don't disappear, they reinvent." And she was right. In 2008, for years after Daniel's disappearance, a man named Michael Rivers opened a consulting firm in Asheville, North Carolina. He had the same build, the same easy smile, but darker hair and a southern drawl. He kept to himself, paid cash for everything, and told people he'd lost his wife in a car accident. A local journalist, curious about the newcomer, took a photo at a charity golf event. That photo, published online, was run through a facial recognition database as part of a testing program the FBI had recently adopted. When the system flagged it, Harper got the alert. "He's alive," she whispered when she saw the screen. But when agents reached Asheville, Michael Rivers was gone. His office cleared out overnight, lease terminated, phone disconnected. All that remained was a receipt for a one-way flight to Belize, booked under yet another alias, Daniel Reed. It was as if he could smell the law approaching. The FBI widened the search. Over the next decade, sightings poured in from across Central America, Guatemala, Panama, Costa Rica. Each time, by the time agents arrived, he'd vanished. He always left behind traces, a fingerprint, a witness, a digital breadcrumb, but never enough to corner him. Harper became obsessed. She pinned maps across her office wall, drew red strings between sightings, and told her team, "He's not running anymore. He's building something." She was right again. In 2015, an investment firm called Blue Horizon Group began making large, discrete real estate purchases in Belize. The company was registered under an offshore trust, but Harper's team traced it back to the same Cayman account Daniel Reeves had opened in 2004. The total assets? Over $9 million. Someone was laundering money through resorts and eco-projects, and the name Daniel Reeves appeared in one of the documents, hidden in fine print as an early investor. By now, Claire had rebuilt her life. She moved to Chicago, raised her children quietly, changed her last name. But one morning, she got a letter, no return address, just a neat, familiar handwriting. "I never meant to hurt you. I only wanted to protect you from who I was. I'm sorry for everything. Tell the kids I love them. D." Her hands shook as she showed it to the authorities. The FBI confirmed the letter's authenticity. The DNA on the envelope was a match. Harper took it as proof that Daniel, or Mark, or whoever he was now, was still alive. So they set a trap. In 2018, the FBI launched a sting operation disguised as an investment opportunity in Belize, using a front company to attract Blue Horizon's attention. Harper herself went undercover as an investor. For 6 months, there was nothing, and then one evening, she received a message through an encrypted channel. "Interested in meeting. Tomorrow, 9 p.m., the Coral Lounge." When Harper arrived, she saw him. 15 years older, hair gray at the temples, but the same calm confidence. He smiled, ordered a drink, and said, "You've been looking for me, Agent Harper." She froze. He wasn't armed, wasn't hiding. He was surrendering on his own terms. Over the next few hours, he told a story. His real name was Mark Reynolds. He'd grown up poor in St. Louis, brilliant with numbers, recruited by a corrupt firm in his 20s. He started laundering money for clients, then turned on them and faked his own death when things went south. "I didn't fool the FBI," he said softly. "I just gave them what they wanted, a mystery." When Harper asked why he reached out, he said, "Because I'm tired. I built an empire out of lies, and it's starting to collapse." He was extradited to the U.S. within weeks. The trial made national headlines. Prosecutors detailed 2 decades of fraud, fake identities, and shell companies. Yet when Claire testified, her voice didn't shake. "I don't hate you," she said, "but I'll never forgive you." Mark pleaded guilty to 37 counts of fraud, identity theft, and money laundering. He was sentenced to 45 years in federal prison. Harper attended the sentencing. When he was led away, he turned to her and said, "You finally got me. Took you long enough." She replied, "You fooled everyone, Mark, but not forever." Even in prison, Mark remained an enigma. He spent his days reading, writing letters, never requesting visitors. 3 years later, in 2021, he was found dead in his cell, apparent suicide, though some suspected otherwise. A note was found beside him. "The truth is a game. I just played it better than most." The FBI closed the file. Harper retired a year later. But sometimes, when she'd go through her old case notes, she'd find new reports, a voice on a call in Belize claiming to be Daniel Reeves, or a bank account suddenly reactivated under one of his aliases. She'd smile and say to herself, "Maybe he fooled us one last time." Because no one really knew if the man in that cell was Mark Reynolds, or if the greatest con of all was still unfolding somewhere out there, in another quiet town, with another perfect wife, under another name. The husband who fooled everyone, even the FBI.